What's going on, guys? My name is Samir Hamid with Printless, and I want to formally welcome you to T-Shirt University. First, I want to congratulate you on being here. A lot of people say they want to start a clothing brand, but very few actually take action. By being here, you've already put yourself ahead of most people. T-Shirt University was created for one reason: to give you clear, practical steps to start, launch, and maintain a real apparel brand. Not random tips, not vague motivation, a structured path you can actually follow. What to expect over the next 4 weeks. Here's what we're gonna cover. First, you've got your foundation. We'll define your brand identity, your target audience, and what makes your brand different from others. We'll also build out your story, your values, and your positioning. This is a part that most people skipped, and it's why their brands never feel cohesive. Next, we'll go into designing your collections. You'll learn how to think in collections, not just random pieces. We'll break down the themes, the colors, and the styles so everything connects. By the end of this section, you'll have a clear plan for your first drops. Next, we'll have your online store. We'll get your store fully set up and ready. That includes your platform, your product, your pages, your pricing, and your presentation. So you're not just planning, you're ready to sell. Finally, your launch. And what comes next? We'll cover how you launch properly, how to get attention on your brand, and how to stay consistent after the course ends. By the time you finish, you should have a live online store, collections ready to sell, and a clear plan for your brand moving forward. I want you to treat this like a real commitment. If you show up and actually do the work, you will be in a completely different position. I'm excited to see what you build, so lock in, get ready, and let's get started. Welcome to T-Shirt University. All right, y'all. In this lesson, we're gonna talk about the difference between a brand and a business, and then break down the core pieces of your brand's foundation. The simplest way to think about this is, your brand is what you tell, and your business is what you sell. Your business is the product. For example, your t-shirts that you might sell online. Your brand is the meaning, the message, and the story wrapped around those shirts. It's what people remember and feel. To build a brand that actually helps you sell, there are a few fundamentals that you need to lock in. I like to think of these as the pieces of your brand identification pyramid. First, you have your logo. Your logo is the visual representation of your brand. The goal is to pack as much meaning and story into that symbol as possible. Think about brands like Nike. They don't have to explain anything. They can just show you that check logo and you immediately know what they stand for. Only a tiny percentages of the brand in the world, around 6%, can communicate almost everything through just their logo. That's what we're aiming towards over time. Your logo should be a jam-packed representation of what your brand stands for. It's the top-level visual that triggers all the feelings and ideas behind your brand. Next, you've got your taglines. Taglines are short, go-to statements that work like an elevator pitch for your brand. Just a quick sentence that makes your brand easy to understand and easy to remember. For example, for Printless, a tagline might be, "We print shirts." For our brand Family Matters, a tagline might be, "Family business building an empire." Simple, clear, and tells you who we are and who we serve. Next, you have your bio. Think of this in a very practical way. Your bio should be short enough to fit in an Instagram profile or on the About section of your website, but powerful enough that someone can read it once and understand exactly who you are. It would answer, who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for? What do you stand for? Keep it clear, concise, and easy to digest. Next are your values. What do you stand for? And what do you want people to feel when they see your logo or interact with their brand? For our brand Family Matters, some values might be brother, unity. For Printless, our values might be peace of mind, quality, and excellent customer service. These values become the backbone of how you design, how you communicate, and how you treat your customer. They're not just words on a page. They should actually show up in the experience your people have with your brand. Finally, at the bottom of the foundation, you have your story. Your story is your why. Why are you doing this? Why did you start this brand? Why did you choose this name? What experiences or moments led you here? This is usually a long form explanation. And here's something important. Your full story doesn't even have to be public. Your customers might never see the whole thing, but you still need to physically write it out, all of it, type it, write it by hand, whatever works for you. Get it out of your head and onto a page. Why? Because these are things you know about your brand that people who help you, designers, partners, team members, may not know. When you write your story, you're downloading the most important part of your brand from your mind into a format that can guide everything else. Along with your logo, your brand name is also one of the most important parts of your identity. The name and the logo together are what people will remember first. They should connect back to your story, your values, and the feeling that you wanted to create. All of these elements, your logo, tagline, bio, values, story, and name, they make up what we call the brand identification pyramid. At the top, you've got the visual, your logo and name. Just beneath that, you've got your taglines and bio, the quick digestible explanations. At the base, you have your values and your raw story, the deep foundation that everything else is built on. When you understand and define each layer clearly, you build on a strong foundation for your brand. And once that's locked in, selling your t-shirts online becomes much easier because you're not just selling fabric, you're selling meaning, identity, and a story that people want to be a part of. All right, y'all, in this lesson, we're gonna talk about goal setting and why it's one of the most important parts of building a successful brand. Most people say they want to make six figures, but they never turn that into a real plan. A strong brand is built on clear, measurable goals. A goal that isn't specific is just a wish. You need to know, how much do you wanna make? By when, at what price, and how many units that actually is. If you can't measure your progress, you can't improve it. Breaking down the numbers, let's make this real. Say your goal is $100,000 this year, and you're selling t-shirts for $25. That means you need to sell 4,000 shirts in a year. Now break that down. That's about 333 shirts per month, and about 11 shirts per day. Now your goal is no longer vague, it's specific. And when you know you need to sell 11 shirts a day, your thinking changes. You start asking, how much traffic do I need? What content should I post? What marketing do I need to be running? Now your brand becomes a system, not just ideas. Here's how you apply this. Set your yearly goal. Know your product price. Calculate your units, and then break it down, yearly, monthly, daily, and build your strategy around hitting that number. Don't just say you want a successful brand. Define it, measure it, and build towards it every single day. In this lesson, we're talking about budgeting for your clothing collection. Most people start with design, mood boards, sketches, ideas, but professionals start with their budget because your budget shapes everything. Your budget is not just a number, it's a design constraint. It determines how many styles you can create, how many sizes you can offer, and how many variations you can produce, and how often you can release. Your resources are limited, so your budget becomes the framework that keeps your ideas realistic. First, you need to define two things, your budget and your cadence. That might look like $100 a week or $2,000 a month. There's no perfect number. It just needs to be clear, consistent, and realistic. Now, let's collect your budget to your collection. With a smaller budget, you focus on fewer pieces, stronger designs, limited size runs, minimal colorways. And with a larger budget, you can expand those categories, offer more sizes, more inventory, experiment with more styles. But remember this, the more you spread your budget, the less impact each piece has. So your goal is balance, not random. Your budget also affects your size runs. Every additional size costs more. More production, more inventory, and more risk. So with a smaller size budget, you may start with core sizes. With a larger budget, you can expand into full size ranges. Your budget also controls how often you can release. Smaller budget means slower, more spaced out drops. Larger budget means more frequent releases or bigger collections. Consistency matters more than speed. Before you design anything, decide your budget, let that budget decide your collection, and build from there. That's how you create a brand that's sustainable and built to grow. What's up, everybody? In this lesson, we're breaking down the 4 core elements that define a clothing collection. A lot of people think a collection is just a bunch of pieces that they like. But if you want your brand to feel intentional, there has to be structure behind it. The first element is your garment style. This is the type of garment you're creating. I look at this kind of like a canvas. This is your t-shirts, your hoodies, your crew necks, your sweatpants. Your garment choices create the framework of your collection, and the fewer you choose, the more focused your collection feels. The second element is color. This is your palette. Black, white, neutrals, earth tones. Instead of random colors, you want a cohesive set. Usually 3 to 5 colors that work together. Color is what makes everything feel connected. The third element is the design. This is your graphic, your logo, your artwork. This is the voice of your collection. Your design should feel related, not random. One main idea across multiple pieces. And the fourth element is your design placement. This is where and how the design appears. So are we printing it on the front center, the left chest, the back, the sleeve? If you do the same design over multiple garment styles, it can feel boring. The same design can feel bold or subtle just based on the placement. So to recap, a real collection is built on 4 things: garment style, color, design, and placement. When you plan all of these things intentionally, you move from random pieces to a cohesive collection that actually tells a story. All right, y'all, in this chapter, we're talking about design planning and why it's one of the most important parts of building a real brand. Here's the problem. As a creative, it's natural to work in the moment. You design when you feel inspired, you drop something when you're excited, but if you only work like that, your brand will always feel random. Design planning means thinking ahead. Instead of asking, what do I drop right now? You're asking, what am I releasing over the next few months? You're building a timeline, a structure, a plan. And why does this matter? Because the truth is, you won't always feel inspired. But if you're already planned, you can still stay consistent. And consistency is what builds trust. And when people see your brand showing up regularly, they take you seriously. When you plan ahead, you gain a real advantage. You already know what's coming next. You can work with designers and manufacturers early, so your samples are done on time. You can plan out your content, your photo shoots, your product shots before the launch, and your website, your store, your product pages are ready to go when it's time to drop. All of this comes from one thing: planning ahead, not reacting at the last minute. In this chapter, we're gonna break down how to build the plan and how to use it and stay consistent. Because brands that win aren't the most inspired, they're the most consistent. What's up, y'all? This is Samir with Print Bliss, and you're watching T-Shirt University. Today, we're gonna talk about why you need a design plan. I'm gonna show you how to build a yearly design plan for your clothing brand. Most brands design at random, whatever feels good, whenever they can afford it. The problem is that kills consistency, cash flow, and storytelling. Instead, think of your brand like a book. Your brand is the full story and your collection of the chapters. And every release should feel like it belongs in that chapter. To make that happen, you need a design plan. So let's start at the top. Timeline anchors. Timeline anchors are things that happen with or without you. In fashion, that's your 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. These are the backbone for your entire plan. Now define what belongs in each season. For spring, long sleeves and t-shirts. For summer, tank tops and shorts. For fall, crew necks and hoodies. For winter, jackets and heavier pieces. Now you're not designing randomly, you're designing with purpose. Now we zoom in. Inside each season, you have collections. Remember this, your brand is the story. Your collections are the chapters. Each collection should feel cohesive, not random, not scattered, one clear idea. Now this is where the brands level up. Don't drop everything at once. Break your collection into deliveries, smaller drops released over time. For example, spring might have 2 to 4 separate drops. This gives you consistency. You show up more often. It gives you budget control. You don't pay for everything up front, and it gives you better storytelling. You stretch the narrative. Now we can put it all together. Step 1, you map your seasons. Step 2, you assign collections to each season. Step 3, you break collections into deliveries. Step 4, you place those deliveries on your calendar. Now you can see your entire year, what's dropping, when it's dropping, and how it all connects. Now everything gets easier. You can plan your shoots in advance. You can line up your production. You can prepare your marketing. You're no longer guessing, you're executing a plan. Use seasons as your anchors, define your garments, treat collections like chapters, and break them into deliveries. Map everything on a calendar, and when you do this, you stop guessing and you start operating like a real brand. If you're starting a clothing brand, printing merch, or just trying to figure out the best way to bring your designs to life, this video is gonna save you time, money, and a lot of frustration. Because not all printing methods are created equal. And choosing the wrong one, that can completely ruin your margins or your product quality. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 5 main printing methods and the pros and cons of each, and exactly when you should use them. Let's get into it. First up is screen printing. This is one of the most popular printing methods in the game. What is screen printing? It uses plastisol ink that gets pushed through a screen onto a garment. Each color in your design requires its own screen. This process actually comes from old school silk screening methods that date back to China and the Silk Road. The biggest advantage here is cost at scale. The more you print, the cheaper it is per piece. It's also perfect for bold and simple single color designs. The downside is setup time. It takes about 45 minutes per color to prep everything. Most shops also require minimum order quantities, and turnarounds are usually 2 to 3 weeks. When to use it? Screen printing is best for bulk orders and designs with simple color palettes, meaning no more than 2 colors. Next up, we have direct to garment, also known as DTG. This is considered the best printing method out. DTG is basically a high-end printer that prints directly onto the fabric. I think of it like printing a photo on paper, but on a t-shirt. These printers can hit super high detail, up to 1600 dots per inch. Your average screen printer can only do 100. You get unlimited print colors and photorealistic prints. There's no need for screens, so there's no setup fees, and the turnaround time is usually fast, usually same day or up to 3 days for small runs. It's not the most cost-effective option for large volume, and it can be a little sensitive depending on the garment type and how it's prepped. Here's when you should use DTG. DTG is perfect for small batches, testing design, or print-on-demand setups, or any artwork where you're in a rush. We can always beat the turnaround time of any screen printing or embroidery. Now let's talk about embroidery. Instead of ink, embroidery uses thread that's stitched directly into the garment using a machine. This is the most durable option, hands down. It gives a premium high-end look, which is why you see it on a lot of polos, uniforms, and hats. The cons are that there's setup costs for digitizing your design, and pricing is dependent on stitch count and size. And like screen printing, you're usually dealing with minimums and about a 3-week turnaround time. Also, depending on the garment you're using, the threads can pull on it and make it look a little weird when you're wearing it. Embroidery is ideal for corporate apparel, uniforms, and higher end branded merch. Next up, you've got sublimation. Sublimation is a dye process where the ink actually becomes a part of the fabric instead of sitting on top of it. It only works on 100% polyester garment. There's no feel to the print at all. It's completely embedded into the fabric. It's also amazing for full color all over design. The cons are that you're limited to polyester, there are fewer providers, and it can be more expensive with longer lead times. When to use it? Sublimation is perfect for sports jerseys, performance wear, and all over prints. The last one, and this is the one that most brands think they want to start with, is cut and sew. This is full-on custom manufacturing. You're not printing or decorating on blanks, you're creating the entire garment from scratch. You choose the fabric, the weight, the fit, the dye colors, the thickness of the seam, everything. The pros are that you get maximum control. This is how you build a truly unique brand with pieces no one else has. The cons are that they're higher minimum order quantities, usually 48 to 400 pieces per design or color. The timeline is much longer, 3 to 6 months, and there's more complexity when it comes to communication and quality control. Cut and sew is best for established brands that are scaling and building full custom collections. All right, so now that you know all 5 of those, how do you actually choose? Well, here's a simple way to think about it. If you need 1 to 20 pieces, or if you're in a rush, less than a week, direct to garment is gonna be your best option. If you need 200 pieces or more and you're using a single color design, screen print is gonna be your best one. And if you're doing large custom orders, like you can't find a blank to print on, you're gonna wanna be cut and sew. If your design is bold and only 1 to 2 colors, screen printing. Full color, direct to garment. For workwear or uniform, embroidery. For polyester or performance wear, sublimation. For fashion forward, fully custom pieces, cut and sew. Here's the timeline. You need it this week or today, direct to garment. Got about 3 weeks, screen printing or embroidery. Building a full collection, cut and sew. In this module, we're focusing on sales because this is where your brand actually becomes real. Up to this point, you may have ideas, designs, content, but none of that matters if you can't sell it. Most brands don't fail because of bad design. They fail because they don't have a system for selling. You need a plan, not just creativity. Here's the structure. First, you pre-sell. You want to sell early to your closest supporter. Next is your VIP release, giving early access to your most engaged audience. Then your general release, your full public launch. After that, you remix restock, and sale to extend the life of your job and generate more revenue. Now let's talk about how you actually sell. Here are 4 pillars that can help you sell your brand. First is hand-to-hand, physically meeting people and selling directly, vending, pop-up events, and booths. Next is direct shipment, holding inventory and shipping orders yourself. Then you have drop shipment, made-to-order production with low risk. Now we bring all of that together. In month 1, you develop your foundation. In month 2, you activate, you launch your first drop. In month 3, you recharge, you keep the momentum going. And then in month 4, you follow through. You finish the cycle and start the next one. This is how you go from having just ideas to building a real brand that actually generates revenue, not guessing, executing.